Lesson 12, I will solve multi-step word problems and check for reasonableness. So in Lesson 11, we talked about using the standard addition algorithm. And in the lessons before that, we were talking about rounding or estimation. In Lesson 12, we are going to combine those two, just like you did in the Zern lesson. We're going to talk about estimating addition application problems and then deciding whether or not we feel like our actual answer is close to our estimate. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at our problem set. So go ahead and write your name at the top, and then I want you to notice what the directions say. The directions say estimate and then solve each problem. So I want you to remember that when you are estimating, you don't solve the problem and then round your answer. That defeats the purpose. When you estimate, you need to round before you solve the problem. So we're going to estimate and solve each problem, model the problem with a tape diagram, explain if your answer is reasonable. So for number 1, for the bake sale, Connie baked 144 cookies. I'm going to go ahead and underline that because I know that's going to be important. And Esther baked 49 more cookies than Connie. About how many cookies did Connie and Esther bake? Estimate by rounding each number to the nearest 10 before adding. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to draw, because this is an application problem, so we're still going to use that RDWW process. So we just read it, and now we're going to draw. So in this case, this is a case of where I'm comparing how many cookies Connie baked to how many cookies Esther baked. Now it tells me that Connie baked 144 cookies. So I'm going to allow this tape diagram to represent how many cookies Connie baked, and I'm going to go ahead and label this 144. It says here that Esther baked more cookies than Connie. So that means that Esther baked 144 cookies just like Connie, but in addition to these 44 cookies, she cooked 40 or baked 49 more. Okay, now I have to go back to see what is the question asking. Sometimes the question will say, well, how many cookies did Esther bake? Sometimes it wants to know how many cookies did they bake together. Well, in this case, it says, about how many cookies did Connie and Esther bake? So they want to know how much they baked all together. So this is the basis of my problem. Now, before I find the actual answer, I'm going to estimate by rounding each number to the nearest 10. So when I have 144, okay, so let's look at the tens place. I have 14 tens. So this number comes between 14 tens and 15 tens, which is 140 and 150. Now when I look at the 4, it tells me that this number is not more than halfway. So this is going to stay 140. Now again, I did not use a vertical number line, because I've been doing this long enough that I can do the vertical number line in my head. If this still doesn't make sense to you and you find that you're guessing, just come over here and draw that vertical number line. It doesn't take but a second. Okay, so I know that 144 is about 140. So that means that this 144 is also about 140. So now let's take a look at this 49. 49 to the nearest 10, we have 4 tens. So this comes between 40 and 50. Well, 49 is really close to 50. So I know that 49 is about 50. So now if I want to know how much cookies did Esther and Connie bake, I have to add all 3 of these digits together. So I have 140 plus 140 plus 50. So I have 4, 4, and 5 tens. So 4 and 4 tens make 8 tens, plus 5 tens makes 13 tens. Well, when I have 13 tens, that tells me that I can regroup one of those tens to the hundreds place. So that gives me 3 hundreds, and then the 3 tens that I had left over, and no ones. If that doesn't make sense to you, you could always come over here and rewrite this vertically and add it this way. But because all of these numbers ended in a 0, it kind of made it easy for me to be able to do that in my head, okay? So this is our estimate, okay? So we could say that they baked, now notice I'm going to use this word, about 300 30 cookies, okay, because that's my estimate, okay? Now let's take a look at B. Now B says exactly how many cookies did Connie and Esther bake. Now I can't see both pages at the same time like you can, so I'm going to do a split screen here like this so I can see A and B at the same time, okay? Now I don't need to redraw my tape diagram. It's the same problem. The only difference is this time I'm not going to use my estimates when I add. I'm going to use my actual answers. So this time I am going to rewrite this problem vertically because this would be a little, I could probably add this in my head, but I wouldn't have a very good chance of making a very accurate answer. I have a lot of chance of making a mistake. So I'm going to go ahead and add this vertically. Okay, once I get all those numbers written, I'm going to go back to full screen so that we can see a little bit better here. All right. Okay, so I've got 4 ones and 4 ones plus 9 ones, which is going to give me 8 plus 9, which is 17. So I know that I'm going to take 10 of those and bundle them into a 10. So now I've got 4, 4, and 4, which are 12, plus 1, which makes 13, which gives me another 100. So now I have 337. So now I'm going to say they baked exactly 337 cookies. Next it says, is your answer reasonable? Compare your estimate from A to your answer B. Write a sentence to explain your reasoning. Okay, so when I look back at my estimate was 330 cookies, and my actual answer was 337. So were my two answers close? Yes, so because they were close, that means that my answer is reasonable. Now, does that mean that I didn't make a silly addition mistake? No, I still could have. Perhaps I added the ones wrong and the actual answer is 336. This doesn't say, is your answer right? It says, is it reasonable? So even if I made a silly addition mistake, I know that this is still really close because it's close to my estimate. So when it says compare your estimate A to your answer B, I'm going to say, my estimate of 330 cookies is very close to my actual answer of 337 cookies. So my answer is reasonable. So now I'm going to go back and make sure I answered the question. So is your answer reasonable? So I answered that. I said my answer is reasonable. Compare your estimate. I did that. Write a sentence to explain your reasoning. I did that. Okay. All right, let's move on to problem number 2. Raffle tickets were sold for a school fundraiser to parents, teachers, and students. 563 tickets were sold to teachers. 888 more tickets were sold to students than teachers. 904 tickets were sold to parents. So I've got 3 numbers here. 563 tickets were sold to teachers. 888 more tickets were sold to students than teachers. And 904 tickets were sold to parents. So now it says about how many tickets were sold to parents, teachers, and students. So again, we're going to be estimating. It tells us to round each number to the nearest 100. Okay, so let's start with the teachers. So I'm going to write T for teachers, and then I'm going to go ahead and draw my tape diagram. The teachers were sold 563 tickets. Then it says 888 more tickets were sold to students than teachers. So that means that students not only bought 563 raffle tickets like the teachers, they also bought 888 more. Notice I'm drawing this box bigger because 888 is greater than 563. And then we have parents. And it says that the parents bought 904 tickets. Well, I know that this is going to be less than the students because I can tell that these two numbers together would be greater than 904, but I also know that 904 is greater than 563, so I'm going to make this bigger box bigger than the teacher box. Now the question wants to know the total because it says about how many were sold to parents, teachers, and students. So this is going to be my question mark. My question mark is going to represent the total. So now I need to round each number to the nearest 100 to find my estimate. So first I've got the teachers. They bought 563 tickets. So to the nearest hundreds, there are 500 hundreds. So that would be between 500 and 600. The 6 tells me that I'm going to round this number up because it's more than halfway. So I'm going to round this number to 600. Now for the students, they're going to have this 600, so I'm not going to re-round that number. And then they have 888. Well, 888 comes between 800 and 900. And this 8 tells me that it's more than halfway, so this number also rounds up to 900. Then I have 904. Well, 904 comes between 900 and 10 hundreds, which would be 1,000. The 0 tells me that it rounds down to 900. Okay, now I'm ready to find the total. Now I have to be careful here because notice I have two 563s. So some kids forget and they just add these 3 numbers, but there's actually 4 numbers. So I have to add 600 twice plus 900, which is what I rounded 888 to, plus another 900. Now because I have all these zeros, I'm pretty sure I can do this in my head. 6 and 6 are 12. And 9 and 9 are 18. So 8 and 2 would make 10, and then I would have 10 more, so this would be 30 hundred. Okay, if that's confusing to you, you could always rewrite this vertically and say 6 and 6 make 12, 9 and 9 make 18, and then you could add 12 and 18, and that would give you 30, okay? But don't do this unless the other did not make sense to you. So I've got 30 hundredths, or 3,000. So the question is about how many tickets were sold to parents and teachers. So I'm going to say about 3,000 tickets were sold to parents and teachers. Okay? All right, so let's take a look at B. Exactly how many tickets were sold to parents, teachers, and students. So now we're going to do the exact same thing, only this time we're going to use the actual answers. So this time, because I have 4 numbers, I think I'm going to go ahead and add 563 and 563, and then I'm going to add 888 and 904. And then I'm going to add these 2 sums together. You can try to add all 4 of them together at the same time if you want to, but just because I don't have a lot of room, I'm going to do it this way. So 3 and 3 are 6, 6 and 6 are 12, 5 and 5 are 10, plus 1 makes 11, and then 8 and 4 make 12, 8 and 1 make 9, and 8 and 9 make 17. So now I have to add 1,126 to 1,792, and that gives me 8, 11, 9, and 2. So, exactly 2,918 tickets were sold. Okay, now I could say to parents, teachers, and students, but I don't have exactly enough room, so that'll be okay. All right, so again, we're going to compare our estimate to our exact answer. So it says, assess the reasonableness of your answer. Is this answer reasonable? Look back at our estimate. Well, our estimate was 3,000, so aren't they very close? Yes, they are. So I'm going to say my answer is reasonable because 2,918 is very close to 3,000. So again, I'm not saying that I didn't make an addition mistake. Look at all these addition problems. I could have easily made an addition mistake. But what I'm saying is that even if the correct answer was 2,917, this is still close to the actual answer. It's got to be reasonable because it's close to my estimate. Now, I know that your problem set has some more pages. Your problem set has a problem 3, and it also has a problem 4. But because of time's sake, I'm going to have you go ahead and stop here. Problems 3 and problem 4 are very similar to problems 1 and 2. So if you understand problems 1 and 2, you shouldn't have any trouble doing your exit ticket. So we're going to go ahead and stop here. And remember that when you're assessing reasonableness, you're checking to see if your estimate is close to your actual answer.